So for this particular video, we're going to be looking at simplifying surds and specifically looking at surds, simplifying them, when we're going to add or subtract them. So the key thing here to remember is that surds can only be added or subtracted when they are alike, or in algebra when we call them like terms. So for example, terms or surds, that would be alike would be root 3 and 2 root 3, for example. Things that are not, or surds that are not alike, are obviously something like square root of 7, and then let's say 4 root 8. So we can't simplify those in any capacity. There can be instances where you are required to simplify a surd before you can add it or subtract it. So if you think back to the first task that I set you, or the first video where we looked at simplifying surds, that's what I'm talking about when you need to simplify it before you can go on to add or subtract it. So if we look at the following examples, we're asked to add the following surds together and simplify them in their most simplest form. So if we take a look at the first example, we can see that all our terms are alike, so we can simplify it. So I'm going to go root 3 plus 2 root 3 will give me 3 root 3, then minus root 3. So my final answer will be 2 root 3. Remember that the coefficient in front of the root term, I guess you would call it, is going to be 1 if there's no number in front of it. That's not to change the value of the root function. I'm just talking about the number in front. So it's implied that the number is 1 in front of it. So that's why I got a final answer of 2 root 3. So if we take a look at the second question, I'm going to rewrite this expression by grouping my like terms together. So I'm going to write 10 root 3 minus root 3, and then plus 2 root 7. So now that I've rewritten it, it's a lot easier to ensure that I'm not going to make a mistake, and it's a lot easier to then go on and simplify this a lot more. So again, I'm going to simplify this by going 10 root 3 minus 3 is 9 root 3 plus 2 root 7. Now, please be aware from this point on we can't simplify it any further, given the fact that there are no more like terms. A common error people tend to make is write the answer 11 root 10, and what they do is they'll add the 9 and 2 together and they'll add the number under the root sign. Please know that you can't do that. You need to make sure that the terms under the root function are alike in order for you to, the root sign, in order for you to simplify it any further. So now let's take a look at the third example here. So this one has 2 root 50 plus the square root of 2 minus root 5. So here the problem is that we don't actually have any terms that are alike. But if we take a look at this 50, for example, we know that we can simplify that a little bit further. And that's what the step up here suggested that we do, is to simplify a surd before we can add it or subtract it. So let's simplify it. So if I'm going to simplify the square root of 50, my two factors I'm thinking of would be 2 times 25 times 2, and then all of that obviously under the root sign, plus square root of 2 minus the square root of 5. So here I'm going to simplify my surd to 2 times 5 root 2 plus root 2 minus root 5, and then I'm going to have 10 root 2 plus root 2 minus root 5, and my final answer will be 11 root 2 minus root 5. Now, with the way I simplified the square root of 50, my two factors, the general rule of thumb I like to follow is try and find two factors that will give me 50, where one of them is a perfect square. That makes the whole process of simplifying a lot easier. There are a few other strategies you could definitely try. Trial and error is always a popular one. Whatever works for you, as long as you're able to simplify that as much as possible. And obviously, regardless of the method you choose to simplify that a square root of 50, you will get the final answer to be exactly the same as what I've got here. So now I think it's pretty important that we have a go at practicing this using the calculator. So what I've got is, I've got the calculator screen open on my computer. I'd highly recommend having your CAS calculator with you and just follow along with the steps in typing this into your calculator. So the control function there, or the control button, if you press that and then that square root button there. That'll open up a root sign. So with the first question, it was root 3, and just move the cursor across, otherwise it will extend your surd. And then it was plus 2 root 3 minus root 3. So we got an answer of 2 root 3 when we were doing the working out. So let's just double check we are correct. Perfect. So what the calculator has done is obviously simplified our surd in its most simplest form. If you are looking for the answer as a decimal, you can always press Control Enter, and that'll give you your answer in decimal form. Keep in mind that surd, when you're giving your answer with a surd, it is considered to be in its exact form. So unless the question specifies give your answer in decimal values or to 2 decimal places, don't give your answer in decimals. All right, so the next question was 10 root 3 plus 2 root 7. My apologies in typing slow. I'm using the mouse to control the keypad, so it's a bit clunky. And then 2 root 3. Root 3. So this is what our question was. We had an answer of 9 root 3 plus 2 root 7, so that's what we should be expecting. And there we go. Don't worry about the order of the numbers. As long as the numbers or the terms are correct, which we're good to go. And then our last question was 2 root 50 plus root 2 minus root 5. And our final answer was 11 root 2 minus root 5, and that's exactly what our answer was as well. So hopefully now, at least at the end of this video, you're comfortable with simplifying surds using addition and subtraction. Please keep in mind that in order for you to simplify the terms the surds using addition or subtraction, it's really important that the surds are alike. That's what you should be able to take away from this and be able to go on your way and simplify the surds where they require the use of addition and subtraction.